Morning, everybody. So you got Tim and Doug from One for All Social again, talking about all things social media and algorithm based and how to get your message seen and which platforms to do on it. But today we're going to dig specifically into Facebook. Facebook's a little bit different than the others. So like on YouTube, LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, doesn't matter. We can get you seen in front of a very large, very wide audience who may or may not know who you are without using a paid ad. Facebook is different. Facebook's follower model implies mutual consent. So if I'm going to see things from Pepsi when they post it on their Facebook page, I have to go purposely follow the Pepsi Facebook page, or Pepsi has to have a placed ad that they pay Facebook for. So inside that system, it either says, yes, we do have a real world connection, or I've gone and followed a company page. So the key to Facebook isn't necessarily saying, how do I attract a new audience? It's how do I get the most engagement with the audience I've got? And in order to do that, you not only have to have the right post, but you also have to have the ability to be seen on their timeline, because the timeline, even though they may have followed you, they may not see you unless you get all the conditions set right. And there's two keys there. And one of the things our system does, and it's agnostic to which system you do, is it looks for the right hashtags, it finds the right search terms. So even if somebody hasn't necessarily decided, I want you to be the top of my timeline, or I'm going to go over to Pepsi's page or Coke's page or Chrysler's page, whatever, if you get the right hashtags and you have the right conditions, it will show up at the top of someone's timeline instead of at the bottom. It might even, get rid of Cousin Joe, whose pictures you didn't necessarily want to see when they're off at Niagara Falls someplace. So, Doug, you want to talk about, just your wife has a business and
Yeah,
how you
and
grow
that's
that following.
exactly it. I was going to talk about the real world case. So, probably 500 plus followers on the page when we started. Um, a little less, but a lot of those are coming in from the current clients of the studio that are already there. But again, to Tim's point, posting a couple times a week, different articles about music, different things that are related, and not doing too great with the views and whatnot. Well, as soon as we engaged using the hashtag, the auto hashtag, predictive hashtag tool with One for All, we watch those views double, triple, quadruple actually in a matter of a couple of weeks, and it's really drawn a lot of the social aspect of the page back to the page. So a lot more comments now because of those hashtags being driving them up to the top of the timelines. A lot more comments, which allows us to respond, which then gets it out there in front of more people. Believe it or not. So the engagement's been driven quite a bit up just by the hashtags being there on their own. And that
And
through word of mouth is actually business, believe it or not.
and the more somebody talks about or interacts with your business, the more likely they are to tell somebody else about it, which of
Mm-hmm.
course leads to expansion, right? So it on Facebook, it is all about engagement. You've got to have somebody purposely follow you, but once they're there, you don't want to just say, okay, it's Tuesday, come by the shop. No, it's like you really want to have something for them to interact with. So I've got a number of Facebook pages I've done over the years, and a couple of them are supportive books I've written, but one that's done pretty well is my buddy Mike and I wrote a book about all the practical jokes we pulled when we were in the Army, at least the ones that can't get us put in jail, because some of those jokes might get, unless the statute of limitations is running out, some of those might get us in real trouble. I'm kidding. I think. But the point is that that Facebook page actually gets attention whether or not we're posting things on it, because it's got a bunch of practical jokes from the Army. It's got goofy Army pictures about whenever you played a joke on somebody, somebody's out there trying to collect samples of dehydrated water, or oh, go get me an exhaust sample from the Humvee just so we can test it, through some apparatus that we just made up because some private doesn't know any better. So it's got some fun joke stuff on it and some funny memes. So that page gets a lot of traffic, and a lot of people have followed it. All of our Army friends have, people who read the book followed it. But as a result, every time we post stuff on it, we find our book sales actually go up because some people have followed it for reasons other than they read the book. So, and the same thing, we work with nonprofits and a couple of charities who have pages, and one of the things they need to do is stay at top of mind on people's timelines, because when it does come to the holidays, when it comes to fundraising, you want to be seen, but you don't want to be seen as the people who only come out. Oh, you only see me when I ask for money, right? You want to say, okay, here's like with one of the nonprofits, we told them like, look, 90% of what you put out needs to be about what you're doing and where that money goes and how it's doing good. And the rest of it can be about, hey, we need more money, right? But unless you get that at top of mind and you get those good deeds out there, it's much harder to go fundraise. And Facebook is great for that because people followed you on purpose, for whatever reason they followed you. They did that on purpose. And now, you get to kind of give them feedback. So you've got to stay positive. There's negativity on Facebook just doesn't play. People love positive. It tends to be a little more family friendly than the other social media sites. I haven't seen too much craziness on it, unless you kind of purposely go look for the craziness, and it's easy to get it off your page if it does eventually show up. So
Mhm.
at least easier than the other ones. But I think that particular platform for businesses who depend on repeat customers is really important, because it implies somebody does business with you. It implies they might come back and do more business with you. Growing a following is a little more complicated, but using that following to stay engaged and drive business, I think, is probably one of the easier platforms to do it on.
Yep. It's all about that engagement with your following. And like I said, that we've even seen that indirectly draw new business in our case, in our use case, quite a bit. Postings, again, not just about, hey, we offer all of these services, we're offering all these lessons. Postings of, look at these student success stories, look at this. And when parents see that, they tag it, they respond, they're happy, we respond back. That creates a conversation, the engagement. Other folks that are friends with them see that, and that leads to new clients, new students.
Exactly. And word of mouth is wonderful. And word of mouth only works if you engage with your clientele. So one of the things, especially on Facebook, you have to do is if you get a post and somebody leaves comments, you don't have to respond to every one, but occasionally respond to people who actually leave comments. And if people are sending your business questions, certainly as a direct message, you want to answer those questions because you never know when it could lead to a new client. So don't just throw it out there and forget about it. Throw it out there and actually pay attention to it. And that's where One for All can help. Is we'll get the timeline figured where you actually are seen, and the direct messages can get pulled back to our platform, so you can answer them all from one place, and from your mobile app, right? So it really does kind of help get all that in place and kind of keep you at top of mind instead of at bottom of mind. So
That's it.
that's our tips for Facebook. And Doug, unless you got anything else.
No, we're going to be doing tips for each individual platform as we go throughout here, and also keep an eye out for a new episode of the Social Sessions coming out early next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.